It's showtime.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
We are professional wrestling.
I'm building an alliance.
You are tuned into
The absolute top of the mountain, the ultimate professional wrestling.
Alliance-wrestling.com.
All right. Throwing stuff here in the studio. What is up, guys? This is the pre-party with your boy J. Cal, a presentation of Alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for ham, sammies, jabrones, and NWA news and information. Welcome, welcome. I see a lot of y'all in the house already. We got Lamb is in the house. I see Heebs is in the house. I know a lot of you guys are watching, and I think it's really cool that you wanted to spend each and every Tuesday with your boy Jay right ahead of NWA Power, or the POWERRR Surge is what we're having today. And I really do appreciate you guys checking us out. We're getting new followers all the time. As you can see there, we just got a new follow from Cool Moon Dog. Thank you for joining us, Cool Moon Dog. If you guys want to join us in the chat, please, your comments are not only welcome, they are appreciated. I know this is Dave Scooby's in the house. This is a lot of fun, guys, and the NWA is finally on it. Also want to say what's up to Trillix. I know she's watching. The NWA is finally starting to come to some semblance of what I'd call good. Semblance. I don't even know if that's a word. Did I just make that up? The NWA is starting to get good, guys. It's time to get excited. Oh, Lamb is sharing the stream. Well, thank you, Lamb. That's awesome. Excuse me. Before we get too far into the show today, I'm going to get a little sentimental on you. If you could indulge me a bit, because we lost a friend just a few days ago. I might get a little sentimental here. My good friend Mark Kokosh passed away. I don't want to say unexpectedly, because he was an older gentleman, but Mark just passed away on Friday night, Saturday morning. He was a good friend to all wrestling fans. One of the things I pride myself with this podcast, with this live stream, is the community that we've all created. This community of friendship and fellowship. I mean, we share each other's content. We're friends. You guys can come in here and say just about anything. I don't take anything personal. We're all buddies. Mark was the kind of guy who would do anything he could to help you. In fact, when I was running SoCal Uncensored, he was my board moderator. He asked how he could help, and that's how I asked him to help. He would go to all of the wrestling shows in Southern California. Now, he was based in San Diego, but would drive all the way to Southgate, to Los Angeles, and all points in between, the Inland Empire, just to be a part of the show. I mean, he was quick to spend his money on t-shirts and to support the wrestlers. And not only that, he was everybody's friend. Mark was the kind of guy who you might not have seen for a couple of months, and when he'd see you, he'd give you a big bear hug and say, "Hey, what's going on, brother?" And he was an older gentleman, and he was on borrowed time, and it's very uncomfortable when the people you care about start leaving you. And unfortunate, we lost Mark. And like I said, I want to take a minute to acknowledge him. This is like I said, a community, and I often think, like, what would happen when I leave? What legacy am I leaving? What kind of memories are we creating together that you guys will have of me, or that I'll have of you? And that's why we try to be PMA here at the Alliance Blog, Positive Mental Attitude. And yeah, so that's going to do it. Thanks for humoring me, Mark. May you rest in peace, my friend, until we see you next time. As Dr. Stinson say, we'll see you in Valhalla. But all right, thanks. Now getting to the NWA, because woo daddy, they gave us some information today. Not only did they announce that there would be another POWERRR Surge episode, which we all kind of thought. May Valentine hinted at it, but the Fight TV didn't actually post any information regarding the show until a couple hours ago. And what we also got was a full card for the pay-per-view. We see some new names showing up for the NWA. Man, that font is very, very small and a little discomforting. Let me take a second here to work on the font while we talk about wrestling. I do want to recognize my friends who are here. Like I said, Sean Mega's in the house, Habes is in the house, Dave Scooby, Terry McDermott. What is up, everyone? Sorry, I'm a little out of sorts, like I said. But the NWA, nevertheless, has proved to be our friend once again by giving us a show, giving us a matchup today that we hadn't seen before, and that is we're going to have the NWA have the tag team match. I'm sorry, guys, I'm very discombobulated right now. Let me try to get my stuff together. Sean points out the NWA is announcing that there will be fans, a limited number of fans in attendance for this show, that there are going to, allow some people into the event, which is kind of surprising to me. I think it's pretty cool that they're going to allow, Terry McDermott just, actually it was from last week, but Terry picked up a ham sandwich t-shirt. You can get your ham sandwich t-shirt at our merch shop. We'll try to get more into that in a little bit. I'm just trying to get this chat box to work correctly. So sorry, guys. I normally am a little bit more prepared than this, but nevertheless, let me work on this real quick. So it should be a fun little episode of Power Surge tonight, because we're getting that matchup, the spotlight, the showcase, the Power Surge spotlight, a tag team match featuring Tim Storm and everybody's friend Sal Rinauro taking on the returning Hawx Aerie. Now, I'm excited to see the return of Hawx Aerie. The last time we saw them was back in December, right, as part of the Circled Squared, the first television taping. In fact, if you guys go on Facebook right now, you could actually check that out, that first episode of Circled Squared. And there was a lot of cool things that were in the works for the NWA prior to the pandemic, prior to everything kind of shutting down. And I really think that it was a very cool idea initially to have that. I don't even know it's like a competition. I think they kind of made it sound like it was going to be like a mix of like a talent search type show. I'm really butchering it here right now. What's up, Scott Steiner? Welcome to the show. It was going to be an opportunity for talents who were not signed by the NWA to compete for an opportunity to become signed by the NWA. None of these guys were under contract. Their matches weren't officially NWA matches. But it does look like it's going to be pretty cool, or it did look like it was going to be pretty cool. It looked like something that I was really looking forward to, and unfortunately, with the global pandemic, that came to a halt. Now, Luke and PJ Hawk were victorious in their tryout match, in their Circled Squared match against the Koloff Dynasty, and it was pretty cool for them to get that win. That was coming off the heels of PJ going viral when he jumped off the second story of a mall while they were doing a live wrestling match at a mall, which in and of itself sounds pretty amazing. And PJ went viral from jumping off the second story onto his opponents below. So these guys are pretty talented. I'm really looking forward to see them again in the NWA. They were also recently in a US Today article about Luke Hawx and his work on the show Heels. That's a new wrestling television show that's been in the works over at Stars. And Luke Hawx has been involved with that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And so I'm really looking forward to that tag match. Of course, Tim Storm was the partner for Sal Rinauro in his match against Kratos and Stevens that just more or less kind of fell apart. But I was really looking forward to seeing what Tim Storm and Sal Rinauro could do together. I mean, that might be, in a company that needs tag teams, this might actually be really good for everybody if Tim Storm and Sal Rinauro continue to work as a tag team. Although, oddly enough, he has a different partner going into the pay-per-view. I'm going to get to some of your comments real quick. Habe says, the way things have been promoted for today's show has led me to believe all the interview segments will be newly made content and not months old. It certainly feels like that, right? because you can't really go back in time and record this stuff. So, obviously they had a roadmap of how they were going to get to this point. It does sound like these will be new interviews. I hope they are. It would certainly freshen up the show and make it a lot more palatable. Sean Mega says Puerto Rico legend Mecha Wolf and Sam Adonis are debuting, 2 names I wanted since day one. We're going to get to those names next week. I mean, we'll be writing about them on alliance-wrestling.com. But yeah, there's a lot of new faces coming to the show. We're going to get to that pay-per-view card in a minute, but like you said, Sam Rudo, which is what they're renaming Sam Adonis. You've got Mecha Wolf and Bestia 666. Bestia 666 is the son of Damien 666. Those guys have been kind of wrestling in the independence of Mexico. So it's kind of like we're seeing some more tag teams come together. We're also seeing the debut of Kylie Ray, who seemingly retired from the sport just I think a year ago, and now is back, and a lot of people are excited to see her. And if she's going to be a prominent person in this tag team division, she could really have a huge impact, no pun intended. So yeah, I mean, a lot of good names are coming out. JTG from Crime Time, he's heading to the NWA. So a lot of interesting things. I'd like to see how everything plays out. Of course, we'll see Fred Rosser back, so that's always good. If you guys enjoy this podcast, please hit like, comment, subscribe, whether you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube. We could really appreciate the love, if you will. So Woodley Goblin's in the house. He is the woodliest goblin around. Thank you for that. He says he's pumped to see PJ Hawk growing into his adult body, if that makes sense. I totally get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying, because you look at somebody like Colby Corino. Hell, you can even look at Luke Hawx. I mean, on the primer that I wrote today, Luke Hawx used to be a junior heavyweight. When he made his debut in NWA Wildside, later NWA Anarchy, he and Sal Renaro were feuding for that junior heavyweight championship. But if you look at Luke Hawx today, I mean, he's anything but a junior heavyweight. He's very built, and I imagine that as PJ gets older, he'll be hitting the gym just like his pops. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring, like you said, his adult body. We'll see how that that plays out. Let's see. Lamb said that was a weird spot from the mall. You say weird. I say like that was well staged. That was planned, and it did exactly what they wanted. They got people talking about them. And then they show up on Circle Squared like shortly after that, and there was so much momentum going from that viral spot. Had the Circled Square program continued, I think we would have seen a lot of love for PJ and Luke, the father-son duo. And PJ's been kind of recluse for a while. He's been, he hasn't been wrestling around everywhere. Luke and PJ have basically been in hiding, since the pandemic. If you go and look at their cage match, there's not a whole lot of title matches or a whole lot of any matches that the pair have had. So this is like the first time, at least on a mainstream, that we'll see the team again. So it'll look good. Terry says he forgot about that jump, but a lot has happened since then. Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Romano's in the house. Welcome to the show, Ryan. Always appreciate you here. Lamb says NWA loves throwing together tag teams, even with teams like Reno Scum being available. Yeah, and Reno Scum, like I just saw where Adam Thornstone said his passion for the business is waning, and that breaks my heart, because that dude is so uber talented, and him and Lester the Legend should be somewhere teaming on a regular basis. They should be wrestling for the tag team titles anywhere, of any promotion, of every promotion. They're a damn good tag team, and it makes me sad that they're not really out there, and they're not really there. You know what I mean? Like, they're not a tag team, and it's unbelievable. Like, I don't know how Impact wasn't able to make something work with them. I don't know how, there's MLW, there's the NWA, the United Wrestling Network. I can't believe that somebody doesn't see that tag team and just figure out how to use them. Heeb says JTG was on CVV in recent weeks if people want to check out what he has been up to after you listen to all the Alliance blog. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Heebs. Thanks for the plug. Yeah, he hasn't just been sitting at home relaxing, and I know he's getting ready to be a part of the Pope's charity show that they're getting ready to put on, and it's really interesting to see what's going to happen with that, too. We got the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast in the house. Welcome to the show. Rick, I hope you're doing well, brother. And so let's talk about this. Let's talk about the pay-per-view card, right? Because, I mean, we knew the whole first season of NWA Power was built on the premise that Trevor Murdoch was going to challenge Nick Aldis for that 10 pounds of gold. I mean, they really did just kind of, show their cards. Yes, we knew it wasn't official till the Battle Royal, but that's really what the whole season was building up for. Nick Aldis trying to distract, trying to eliminate Trevor Murdoch from in-ring competition. I mean, it was very slick the way they did it, too, because initially, with having them take the national title off of Trevor Murdoch, the idea was, okay, it wasn't so much about putting the belt on Adonis, is that, Aldis even said that the person who holds the national title is the number one contender to the 10 pounds of gold. So by taking that belt off of Trevor Murdoch, Aldis, although he hasn't admitted this openly, basically eliminated him as a threat for that title. Now, of course, things transpired and they created this battle royal to create a number one contender, but in the grand scheme of things, you can see how Nick Aldis was working there, trying to eliminate the competition. Sure, he'd rather have a match with Adonis. Sure, he'd rather have a match with Latimer, because, at the end of the day, those guys will do the JOB for the boss, I really think that was pretty cool. Lamb says, what an awesome season, right? Amazing, outstanding, 7 stars if it was in the Tokyo Dome. I won't go that far, Lamb. I won't go that far. Oh, hey, Wrestling with MMA is now hosting. Awesome. We haven't seen you in a while, Wrestling with MMA. Glad that you're here and part of the program. Definitely enjoy you and glad you're here. We also have, getting back to that world title match. So they telegraphed it. They made it very clear that was what they were building to. And now that we finally have it, some of us, myself included, I'm thinking that Trevor Murdoch is going to pull an upset here. And that's not me being an Aldis hater. I just feel like now's an opportunity to try to do something different. Sean Mega says, with the fans back, they can't BS around. That's for sure. But I also feel like, giving Murdoch an opportunity. There's how many more guys out there are the baby faces like Trevor and the company? Very few. Woodland Goblin says, did you buy the pay-per-view yet? I still have to. Yes, I did. I purchased the pay-per-view. They released the card. The hostages have been released. I had no problem purchasing the pay-per-view. The thing I don't want, the thing that I think is awful, is any company expecting you to buy something based just on their name alone. If Samsung doesn't make a good television, then I'm not going to buy that television. And if I get one and I'm not 100% satisfied, I probably won't buy a second Samsung television. I say that as I have my Samsung phone here, my Samsung monitor, my Samsung tablet, and my Samsung watch. So I'm a big Samsung guy, but you get the point. I love the NWA. I've been covering the NWA for almost 20 years now. But if the NWA started not to deliver, which is kind of how I felt after Back for the Attack, I think there's every bit of reason to question why they won't release a card, not to order it until you get one. Because if you're not satisfied with the product, why would you pay for it? Lamb says, I think Murdoch gets the title too because they played the Harley Race tribute card out. And that's another reason, right? Because Harley Race was so important to both of these men. Like, for 1 minute, let's just look at Nick Aldis. Despite the fact that he had a lot of opportunities given to him because of his look, because of his ability to speak, right? Like, he does a great promo. Because of his opportunities on that the British television, the Gladiator show. I mean, Brutus Magnus was a star before he even came to the United States. And the fact that he touched down with Impact, he was given a lot of opportunity. He was put with the right people, Samoa Joe, Sting, right? He was in the main event Mafia. Like, they were grooming him to be a star. And there's nothing absolutely wrong with that, right? Because he's talented. But now look at Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch broke into the biz with Harley Race. 8-time NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. The King Harley Race, right? And he put in the work. Now, yes, he got that opportunity with the WWE. Yes, he was wrestling in Pro Wrestling Noah back in the day. He did get a lot of opportunities because of Harley Race, but no one ever booked Trevor Murdoch because of his smile, because of the way he looked. He is a fighter. He is a wrestler. He is not a model by any sense of the imagination. So his opportunities came from hard work. And I'm not saying that Nick Aldis didn't put in work either. Don't misquote me on that, because obviously to look like the way he looks, you have to be dedicated. You have to work your ass off. So I'm excited for this match. The ties to Harley, Trevor grew up under Harley, and Harley certified, which I still think is a weird expression. You don't get certified. You were a world champion once you won the title. You're not certified. But Aldis did spend a lot of time in seminars where Harley Race was running these seminars. So, I mean, they do have this similar history, this similar connection. And I'm really looking forward to see how that plays out on pay-per-view. Ron says, it's me, R-O-N-G. It's me, it's R-O-N-G. I love it, Ron. That's awesome. Michael Manning, I haven't seen you in a while, Michael. I'm glad you could be here today. Thanks for checking us out. Yeah, I want to see the Pope win that 7. I want him to win the best of 7, the lucky 7, I guess is what they call it, and make his way to that TV title where he could cash in. He could cash in his belt to take the 10 pounds of gold by defeating Nick Aldis or whomever the world champion is at that time. I am looking forward to that. I hope that happens. Willie Bowen's in the house. Willie, what's up, bro? Willie Goblin says, yeah, it would be like Flair losing to Dusty Rhodes, Aldis losing to Trevor Murdoch. Same styles with these guys. Very much so. And that, I mean, hey, Trevor Murdoch early in his career went by Trevor Rhodes. Don't ever forget that. And number 2, ain't nothing wrong with that. Dusty was the American dream. And, we've got Trevor Murdoch who's fighting for that American dream. So, this could work, and it could be interesting. And I think they're in the right spot. Whether you liked how they got here or not is very inconsequential. This is where we are. So that's the match we're going to get. That's the main event. And, there's an out. Even if the match happens and if they put the belt on Trevor Murdoch, if they're not happy with it, July 28th, the 2 face off again in Charlotte, North Carolina for the 10 pounds of gold one more time. So if they put the belt on Murdoch, they have an easy out if they want it. Lamb says, I hope Murdoch hits a new finisher because the Diving Bulldog hurts his body more than it hurts his opponents. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that Diving Bulldog. Dave Scooby. Willie says, oh, what's up, Scooby? You guys are all talking. That's great. Ron Gibson says, Murdoch should do it for Lance Cade. I mean, look, I was fortunate enough to speak to Lance Cade a couple years back, and he was so proud of Trevor Murdoch, and you could tell that there was a real love there. There was a real, the two respected each other very much. So I wouldn't be surprised if he shed some tears and mentioned Lance Cade if he wins the 10 pounds of gold. At one point, the promoter in NWA Southwest, Ken Taylor, was looking to get that World's Heavyweight Championship on Lance Cade, so it would be really fitting on that aspect as well. For longtime NWA fans, stuff like that really matters. Michael Manning says it looks like they got a proper replacement for that TV title belt recently. So, Michael, they had the TV title that they used. That was somebody's replica, I guess, initially in Atlanta. When they were defending in Long Beach, it was the same story as another replica. And the title that they're using now is also a replica. It's not... it's a good-looking belt. It's a good-looking replica, but it's still a replica. Heeb says the whole Murdoch-Aldis feud is built up on Murdoch getting over emotional and making dumb decisions. who's making the dumb decisions at the end of the season. That's why I believe Aldis will lose. That's a great point, Heaves. I mean, we saw not only did Aldis scream at his partners in Strictly Business, he kicked them out of the ring, he sent them on their way, and then he proceeds to get his butt handed to him by Trevor Murdoch, who just was in a 16-man battle royal. So yeah, you're right. Some bad decisions there. Lamb says, imagine the heat when Murdoch loses on Power right after the pay-per-view. I mean, that could happen, right? It surely could happen. I hope it doesn't. Dave Scooby says, have Murdoch hold the belt till the next tapings and then have Aldis chase for the belt. You would certainly get a different dynamic, something that Power hasn't seen before. You know, this is now 4 seasons of Power are in the books, and you've never had Aldis in a position where he's chasing for that title. He's always the man with the plan, the man with the gold, looking drip and flip and everything else you want to say, holding the 10 pounds of gold, not a care in the world, right? Whether it be Flip Gordon, whether it be Ricky Morton, whether it be Marty Scurll, he never was really overly concerned because he was the champion. But now Strictly Business is seemingly in trouble. I don't know, seemingly, we'll find out tonight. And he's got a guy who he's worried about. He's worried about Murdoch. So the storyline wise, it plays up great. We'll see how it goes. Dave Scooby says, we already got that. Matthew Underwood, hey Matt, welcome back. You don't like the booking for the pay-per-view? It is a little different, Matt. It is. You know, we're gonna run down the rest of the card here in just a minute. I see Chris is in the house because he said Aldis sucks. What if Strictly Business and Kamille win the titles and Aldis loses the titles? He will be the ham sandwich. I mean, you're right, Sean, right? Then he'll be the one that's taking orders, I guess. Will the Goblin says, it's so strange that Corgan hasn't had Belts by Dan create a nice handmade belt by now. The thing about Belts by Dan is it's not cheap, and I'm not trying to put down the NWA when I say this, but oh hey, Trilix is followed. Thanks for following, Trilix. The thing that the NWA specified early on is that this was going to be a startup company. Although that name has the rich history and tradition of like 72 years of professional wrestling, like it doesn't correlate that they're a 72-year-old wrestling business. It's brand new. They've been in business since 2017. They acquired the NWA basically around October of 2017. So in such a short time, you have to kind of celebrate the fact that they were able to get this deal with Fight, and before that have that YouTube with so much success on that YouTube channel with 220,000 subscribers, and being able to have these pay-per-views even though they were in conjunction with, you know, Tried and True Pro or Ring of Honor or Global Wrestling Force or Federation, whatever it's called. The fact that they were able to get to this point was pretty meaningful, and they were going to do their first pay-per-view outside of the Georgia Public Broadcasting Studios for the Crockett Cup 2020, but the pandemic stopped that. Now I get what everyone's going to say, hey, you can't keep using that as an excuse, but that's a pretty big excuse, and it really did stop a lot of their forward momentum. So what's going to happen next is you're going to see the NWA continue to grow, right? They're doing these in-house pay-per-views because they're cheap. And eventually, when they're able to start running again and having fans at these shows, we're going to see them take a giant leap forward into the small arena market, kind of like what Ring of Honor was doing, kind of like what MLW was doing. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like I said, they didn't have money for these belts. I mean, the 10 pounds of gold that they have was the same 10 pounds of gold that I believe that Bruce Starpad made. And so these new titles that are coming in, like I know Belts by Dan did the tag titles. We know that for sure. But the TV title, well, you know. Willie Bowen says, remember Tommy Rich's NWA World Heavyweight Championship run? It was very short. Yeah, I mean, it popped the local Atlanta market, and that's not to say that something like that can't happen again. But you're serving two different beasts. Back then, it was all territory driven, and they were trying to build house gates. Now what the NWA is trying to do is drive-bys for not only their pay-per-views, but also their TV model, their Fight TV subscription model. So if they're going to pop the they're gonna pop an audience and do a quick title switch to appease a fan base, it's really going to be that streaming fan base that's subscribed to it. So if all of a sudden everyone who's ordering Fight keeps saying, hey, we need Samoa Joe as world champion, I'll buy more if Samoa Joe's champion, or if whoever is champion, you'll see that. Putting the title on Murdoch doesn't pop a market like Tommy Rich did. But maybe like a Samoa Joe, or if a Daniel Bryan, if he becomes available, or even a Kenny Omega, these sort of things would pop that streaming audience. And that's, unfortunately, I think that's just how it goes. Chris says, I hope no member of Strictly Business wins gold. Most boring stable in wrestling. Tom Latimer's pretty awesome. I really like Tom Latimer. I'm a big fan of Kamille Brickhouse. She has been pretty damn good. Hebe says, having a non-champ Aldis run through Sam Rudo, Fred Rosser, Odinson, etc. would re-spark Aldis's momentum after working 2 tune-up squashes and a 6-man tag for the last several months. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be awesome to watch Aldis, workhorse Aldis, the guy who started that Aldis crusade, to see a hungry Nick Aldis to get out there and fight for that opportunity to become world champion for a third time, I think certainly has a lot to be said for. And you think back to previous NWA world champions, Adam Pearce, his third time. I muted myself. All right. Sorry, guys. When the mic fell. Sorry about that. How about now? You guys can hear me now, though, right? So, anyways, let's move on to the next part of the card. We also have, like you guys mentioned, this new tag team. We're seeing some new faces show up. We're gonna have the End, Odinson and Paro. They're not new, but of course they've yet to really get a good win streak underneath them. They're going to be taking on Mecha Wolf and Bestia 666. Now, we talked about that a little bit earlier. These guys have been wrestling all over Puerto Rico and Mexico. They've been wrestling in some of the independents in Mexico, some of the bigger ones. And I think you're going to see some big things with Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf. Mecha Wolf was in NXT for a short time, and he had a beef with Ali. But anyways, we'll see what happens with him down the road. This tag team, they've been pretty strong. Of course, we're seeing a returning tag team tonight. And then your Marche Rocket and Slice Boogie are teaming up, that's kind of a weird partnership in the fact that Marche Rocket has been mostly, Marche has been kind of a tweener. Like, he hasn't really been a heel. He hasn't really been a face. Teaming with Fred Rosser made him feel like a face. That seemed like a good tag team. It's kind of disappointing that they're not going to be wrestling together at the pay-per-view. So Slice Boogie and Marche Rocket. And then Sam Rudo teaming with Sal Renaro. Oh, thanks for the subscription. Fortification intensifies. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That tag team, again, Renaro and Adonis, that seems a little, Rudo. That tag team seems a little out of place. Tim Storm has been Sal's more or less tag team partner. They're going to wrestle again tonight. That will make 2 matches they've had together. I don't know why you wouldn't put Storm with Renaro and maybe feature Sam Rudo with Slice Boogie, or Sam Rudo with Marche Rocket. It seems a little odd to me. The fact that it's even just a thrown together tag team match just doesn't make a lot of sense to me either, but we'll see how that comes about. We'll see how that works. Oh, I think John Farmer's dropping some facts here. The NWA is debuting Mecha Wolf along with Carlito, MVP, and Latimer were in fact. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, John. In that Nacion Lucha Libre, they were a stable. Mecha Wolf, Carlito, MVP, and Latimer. That's pretty dope. Thanks for that info, John. Wasn't aware of that. I heard a lot of good things about that promotion, but I never really got to see too much about it. I think Chavo Guerrero Jr. was also a part of that, so that's pretty cool. Willie, so far no word on Genocide or Viperous. I mean, Viperous hasn't done anything with the NWA, so I wouldn't expect to see her a part of the show anytime soon. However, we do know that Genocide has been an important part of the last season. Hopefully that'll continue with this season. Sean Mega points out that Mecha Wolf is a former WWC and WWO World Champion, and that's saying something, right? The Puerto Rican promotions out there, that's really saying something. Lamb points out that they're switching Mims. Slice Boogie switching from Mims to Rocket, like the NWA wants to forget the tag loss of the War Kings. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Again, some of the pairings just don't make sense to me. There's other ways they could do it, but, you know, the pay-per-view, they do want to introduce some new names, right? They want Adonis on the card. Rudo. They want Sam Rudo on the card because he has some recognition. They want Mecha Wolf and Beastia 666 on the card because they have recognition. And JTG should be on the card because, again, if people who were watching WWE a couple years ago saw this, they're like, hey, I remember a Crime Time. Yeah, I want to check him out. And especially somebody like Fred Rosser, who, I mean, he's a former WWE Tag Team Champion. In fact, maybe JTG and Fred Rosser would make a good tag team. Okay, you guys are awesome. I do appreciate you all being here every week, and it's pretty cool when John stops in. If you guys don't know, John is the father of Kamille. So, John, we always appreciate you being in here. And, wow, your daughter, right? Your daughter is getting a shot at the Burke. Your daughter's getting a shot at Serena Deep. Now, whoever wins this match is certainly going to have to go through a war to win that title or to keep that title. Serena Deep just went to war with Rio on the Sunday pay-per-view, the buy-in. That match was brutal, and Serena Deep looked really, really good in that match. But I will say this. Kamille is not Rio. Yeah, Rio is very flexible. She's very fast. She's very well learned in technique and submission, but you know, you can't you can't teach power and strength and size, and that's certainly what Kamille has in this match. And you know, I don't think that Serena Deep has ever faced off against someone like Kamille. I don't think she's ever been in the ring with somebody who is like Kamille, who has that power and that tenacity, the ferocity. And it's kind of interesting how Serena Deep has become a lot more ferocious and aggressive in AEW. She's stepping into an NWA ring for the very first time, and she's stepping into the ring with a woman that Thunder Rosa couldn't beat. Thunder Rosa couldn't beat her at the first pay-per-view, and she couldn't beat her in a 20-minute Iron Woman match. Not Iron Woman match, but a 20-minute match. Needless to say, I'm looking forward to that Women's Championship match. I think that's going to be really, really good. Lamb says, we have so many talents. What do we do? Put them in a four-way. Yeah, there you go. Ron says, I'm good, Willie. Just glad to see the end. Okay. You guys talking. Sorry. Fortification Intensifies says, JTG makes anything fun. He is super talented. I'm really glad to see that the NWA picked up on him. And that's kind of like the demographic they were going after, right? They were going after guys who had some time in the spotlight, but never were utilized to their fullest potential. We're getting that right now with the Pope. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Pope has been on fire. There's no one better in the NWA as far as I'm concerned right now than Elijah Burke. But bringing in a guy like JTG or Fred Rosser, I mean, you're certainly adding value to the NWA. And in turn, you know, there's opportunities for these guys if down the road they decide to leave the NWA. We saw it with Ricky Starks. You see it with Eddie Kingston. So hopefully we see more of that in the future. Willie Bowen declares that Jordan Clearwater is a future NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. We'll see how that goes. Terry thinks that Slice needs new attire and a new name. Ron says he was friends with Josephus. He was always very complimentary about Kamille and said she was going to be a big star. I mean, you don't have to be as wise as Josephus to know that Kamille is a superstar. Period. Superstar. Sean Mega says Slice was face to face with Jack Stane. You know, in Slice, let's not take that for granted. Slice looked really good in that match with Jack Stane, and as much as Jack Stane was giving, Slice was giving some too. There's something to be said about a guy who's only really 3 years into the business, 2.5. So we also have JTG versus Fred Rosser at the pay-per-view. That looks like it's going to be a really good match. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Tyrus with Austin Idol versus the Pope. It's going to be a non-title match, which I think is for the best because I really want this to get dirty and ugly. And hopefully it gets real nasty because there's a grudge there. There's a feud there. You know, it started off respectfully enough. It started off kindly enough. But at the end of the day, you know, the Pope didn't take kindly to Tyrus trying to take him out after the match. The Pope didn't take too kindly to, the chokehold on the outside of the ring. So I don't think this is going to be a match where they're sweethearts and best friends. This is going to be a fight. I see you guys mentioned Charlie Hawx. Charlie Hawx is a former NWA Texas heavyweight champion back in the day. I don't think you're going to see him in the NWA because there's kind of been this divide with Southwestern Wrestling Entertainment where a lot of their guys are not free to work everywhere else. We know that they had some issues with Tim Storm before he parted ways with the company. They recently had some problems with, what's his name? Hannibal. I really feel like they're trying to keep their talent separate from other promotions. So I don't think you're going to see Charlie Hawx in the NWA, especially when he's their world champion. Lamb says that JTG and Fred Rosser could be the show stealer. I think you're right, man. I really think you're right. I think you're right, man. Fred Rosser is great, man, and each week he's putting in time for New Japan Strong, and although his outings in the NWA haven't been as solid, I really feel like he's underutilized by the NWA, and this match could be a show stealer. And remember, the NWA needs to crown a national champion, and I hope that's what Season 5 spends a lot of time doing, is finding a new worthy competitor to win the national championship. And maybe that's JTG. Hell, maybe it's Fred Rosser. Hell, maybe it's Nick Aldis when he loses the World's Heavyweight Championship. It's food for thought, right? Chris Drummond says he's excited to see Kylie Rae. I know a lot of people are big on Kylie Rae, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of her. So I'm interested just to see what she brings to the table, and she's going to be a part of that tag team match, teaming with Taryn Terrell, taking on Thunder Rosa and Melina. And I think this is, I don't love this matchup. I'd rather see Melina and Taryn Terrell put on a match, and Thunder Rosa and Kylie Rae put on a match, because like I said, I've heard a lot of good things about Kylie Rae. But if the NWA is looking to kind of find its next Thunder Rosa, then the best person to do that with would be with the current Thunder Rosa. And if this creates a program between Kylie Rae and Thunder Rosa, I think that'd be a good way to end Thunder Rosa's time in the NWA. I mean, it's all but certain that she won't be back with the company in 2022, so we'll see how that all plays out. Personally, I think you should use Thunder Rosa in every positive way you possibly can to have her, win that title for a second time, to have her feud continue with Kamille or with Serena Deeb or with somebody like Kylie Rae, if that's who the future is for the NWA, and just keep building and building and using that momentum, that Thunder Rosa, that rub, right? Because she's a legitimate superstar. She's one of the best female wrestlers. She's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I think anytime she steps in the ring with somebody, she's really going to help them improve. So, Ron says Charlie Hawx is great. and Rodney Mack 2. The NWA should rip off SWE. Man, so I said this last year when the NWA was on hiatus, and I thought Billy Corgan should have bought the SWE. I think Billy Corgan could have used that as an opportunity to have television established in Texas with an audience that was already built in. They already had Tim Storm. They were already using Jack Stain and Crimson. I mean, there could have been a lot of opportunity right there for the NWA. I don't see them as working together. I definitely see them as being, at this point in time, I definitely see them as competitors. So I don't think you'll see a lot of talent jumping ship. But I mean, certainly if you had an opportunity, if you could work at SWE or if you could work at the NWA has that rich history and tradition. And SWE is big in the Southwest. So I guess it's whatever works best for you, right? Michael Manning says, there was a time you didn't think that the Pope would be wrestling in again. As soon as he said a word in the NWA, I was rooting for him, and I'll never see him wrestle before. See, Michael Manning, the Pope was this awesome talent, right? He was in Ohio Valley, and he is a former Golden Gloves boxer, and they were just saying how great this guy was and how good he was, and they were expecting all this positivity with him, and it just never materialized. At one point, McMahon even said he was the next big thing, and it never materialized, and he went to TNA, and I know he wrestled a few matches, but well, I apologize for you guys watching on Twitch. Apparently, the live stream ended. I don't know. Sorry, Lamb. I don't know what's going on. No, it's still there. I don't know. Where was I? So he was in Ohio Valley. He comes to the WWE. They put him with the Predator, Sylvester Terry, the Elijah Express. They were really starting to make some moves. They moved him to the ECW brand. He was part of the New Breed. McMahon even declared him the next big thing, the future. And then it all kind of went upside down. He ended up in Impact, and I know he had a few matches, but he was never the star that he should have been. I think he spent more time doing commentary than he did actually wrestling, and I thought that's what he was going to do at the NWA. I thought he was going to just be a promo guy, a manager, and there's nothing wrong with that because those are positions that the NWA could use too, but the guy could wrestle, and he wrestles well. And he's kind of this complete package, so I'm hoping to see more out of him. I'm hoping to see this continue to blossom for him. Last week I did buy this shirt, and I hope that happens. I hope that match happens. I hope we get to see the world's heavyweight champion and the TV champion go one-on-one. And that shirt we're going to be giving away soon. I just have to figure out how we're going to do it. Sean says the War Kings are back in SWE. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's not really predictable, right? Because you had the same time that Tim Storm said goodbye to SWE, they welcomed in Trevor Murdoch defending the national title. So it's a bit convoluted, but again, I don't think they're on the same page. Sean says YouTube is better. Hey, you know what? We have fans on Twitch. We have fans on YouTube. You don't have to choose because we're running on both. Lamb says, well, Pope was close to winning the TNA title back in 2009 before Hogan and Bischoff came to TNA. Well, then that explains a lot too, right? We're almost through the entire card for the pay-per-view. And, we still have a night's worth of action tonight. Of course, the only match on the card will be the tag team match. That should be a lot of fun. Again, Hawx Aerie is a very fun tag team. Tim Storm, the more Tim Storm in the ring, the better as far as I'm concerned. I especially like him in a tag team. And if they really want to do something with him and Sal, I'm here for it. I'm okay with that. Speaking of tag teams, the tag team titles will be on the line on the pay-per-view. It's going to be Kratos and Stevens versus the War Kings versus Adonis and Latimer. I don't even know if we're still calling them Strictly Business at this point. And I couldn't be more excited about it. I really think that there needs to be a change with the tag titles. We've done enough of this, Aaron Stevens and Kratos. It's time to move it to the next level. They need to start feuding, or they need to stop this, whatever it is this is. We want wrestling. We want some wrestling. So I think it's time to put these two in a match together, have them face off. Maybe Kratos goes to Strictly Business. Maybe Stevens pursues an opportunity at the national championship down the road. Michael Manning says When Our Shadows Falls is on at 9 p.m. in the UK. That's cool, man. That's not too late. I know that 1 p.m. start time for me out here in the West Coast is a bit of a drag because Sundays are family days, and that's my wife's birthday. So there won't be a live watch-along. We might start that up with the next pay-per-view, but we won't be doing a live watch-along because, my wife would kill me. So, Lamb says we need more thrown-together tag teams in the NWA. I mean, the problem is they have established tag teams, and I don't mind a thrown-together tag team to help build up a tag team, right? So, like, if you put Slice, Boogie, and Mims in the ring against the War Kings, I don't have a problem with that as long as the War Kings are the ones winning the match, right? Because they need to be the ones to get built up. If you're going to put Adonis and Latimer as a tag team, okay, fine. I don't mind if they face off against Marshe Rocket and Sam Rudo. But if that's the case, then they need to win because we need to establish these tag teams. I don't mind that they're thrown together. I just need to see them be dominant. So that's how I see it. This week, this Tuesday, this is always such a fun day. I was having kind of a bummer start to my week because, like I said, my friend Mark passed away. But you guys do it, man. Every week you pick me up. You make this show very special. It's very fun. I'm glad that I get to be a part of it with you guys. This is the community that we're building. I love that you guys are here. You're engaging with each other. You're engaging with me. We're talking wrestling. We're talking NWA. This is the hashtag NWA fam. I really do appreciate that. We are doing a... I don't think I have the picture here. We are doing, for a limited time, on our merch store. The link is in the website. I'll put the link here too. We're we're selling a t-shirt, limited edition. This shirt's gonna go for all the proceeds of this t-shirt sale will go to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. There will be a walk for type 1 diabetes in October, November that I will be doing with my daughter and my family as part of our way of giving back. My daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes last year, back in March of last year. And so we have this t-shirt available for you guys to pick up. Like I said, Terry McDermott has bought one. I know a lot of you guys here in the chat have bought one. If you choose to, you'd be helping to, again, support type 1 diabetes research. And that means a lot to me, so I do appreciate that. But if you want to pick up other merch, like this cool hat, or the other AllianceWrestling.com t-shirt, the Eagle, or the Unisphere, those are available in the merch store. Just follow the link up there at the streamlabs.com/the Alliance blog 1/merch. That, I need an easier address, don't I? You can pick up a t-shirt and hat. Your money has never been requested, but it is appreciated. I do request your eyeballs, and you guys have been very kind to share those with me, so I do appreciate that. You can follow us on social media at the Alliance blog. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's not really Tumblr, but I mean, used to be Tumblr. And of course, here on YouTube and Twitch, if you subscribe, like, and share, follow, all that good stuff, I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you prefer to listen to these podcasts as opposed to watching this face, you could do so by visiting your favorite podcasting service like Spotify or Apple or Amazon, and just search for the Alliance Blog Podcast. There you'll see all the audio that we do. Some of it's exclusive. Some of it is not based on what we talk about here on YouTube. And some of it is just a direct rip-off of what we've been talking about here on YouTube. So I hope you guys will check that out and enjoy it. Now let's all collectively head over to Fight. Tell them that you represent the Alliance. And let's watch Tim Storm team up with Sal Rinauro to take on Hawx Aerie. And we'll be back here Thursday, guys. to give you not only our review, but also our predictions for the pay-per-view. And I'll be joined by Kevin Frazier, the former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and by DKM, who has never been a champion, but he knows a lot about the champions. So that's going to do it. Again, guys, it's so much fun hanging out with you every Tuesday. This is the highlight of my week. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time at the matches. Good night.